What's good, everyone? It's Zigzag here. Welcome back to another Geoguessr video. Good to have you along to the channel today. So if you're not familiar with a Skewed World, this is a map that places you in each round facing away from the road. That's obviously really difficult because a lot of the clues that Geoguessr pros pick up on are from the road and road signs and things like that. So we don't get to use any meta nor any street signs. Instead, it's all about the vegetation and the landscape. Stique set an absurd score of 24 countries in a row on this map, so we're just going to see how well we can do today. Guys, if you are enjoying the channel, please consider hitting subscribe. Would really help me out. Let's get straight into this first round, which is looking very ambiguous, I must say. So the trees are kind of thin, makes me think it's more northern climate here. It's also pebbly on the side of the road. I thought of maybe like Finland here as being a pretty good option. Of course, Canada is just as possible, and I can't really differentiate the trees here. So yeah, I would say the main thoughts like Finland, Sweden, Canada, just because it's flat and kind of looks like this. Could also see Russia just on the other side in Murmansk or in Karelia here, but I will go Finland here. And it was indeed Canada. Actually, not where I expected it to be, actually all the way over in British Columbia, which is not normally that flat, but of course you do get those flat sections. Okay, next one here is an easy Japan. We got the bit of low camera here. So I know I said we don't get any Google comment over here, but sometimes you can see the low camera for Japan. And I would say that this one was, maybe this is actually southern. It's got a lot of bamboo, so I'll try southern here. Yeah, it was. So at least I can region guess it, even with the commenter. Okay, next one here. And will it load in? That's a good question. We'll refresh here. Imagine this is the world record run and it just doesn't load. Okay, but this looks like surely Mexico. I mean, it doesn't really look like Mexico, but we've got a painted front of the house, which is very Latin American. And then also, I think this pole top should be Mexican. So I'm happy to just send it here. If we're wrong, we're wrong. It was indeed Mexico in Durango there. Interesting. Next one here should be US or Canada. It's a bit rocky here, plus we have some birches, so I'm just going to go straight for Canada here. We'll see, though. Was indeed all the way on Cape Breton there. Next one here, we're actually facing towards the road, interestingly. And I would immediately go for Philippines here. This just looks like the Philippines. Other countries are possible, for sure. If I had to name them, maybe like Colombia, because I always go Philippines on Colombia on this map. Otherwise, maybe like Mexico or even maybe a weird Indonesia. But I will go Philippines because I'm pretty sure it's there. And, okay, well, the longer it loaded there, the more I thought I'd gone Colombia, which is the absolute most classic thing I do on this map. But okay, only 13,000 points, but we actually end up with a 4 streak, so just a couple of big countries, really. Let's see what happens on the next round here. See if we can pull some more in a row here. So this one is a pretty easy Tunisia. We got the French plus the Arabic. Also this kind of like Chilean style pole. Pretty sure you normally see those in Tunis, but maybe there are in other big cities as well. Okay, it was also in Monastir, so that's good to know. Next one here, we got a church. It looks like it's going to be somewhere in Africa. And we got a bit of a green number plate here, so this is almost certainly going to be Nigeria. So I'll just go Lagos here. Was indeed Lagos, makes sense. Next one here, immediate thought was Chile. Now, that's a wooden pole, so maybe this could actually be Bolivia, which I feel like would be more likely to have that. Sun is to the north, so yeah, southern hemisphere. Do we actually see anything? We got like an electricity counter here, I think. Would feel better, I think, for Bolivia. Now, we also have a political advert here as well. I like that better for Bolivia as well, though you could certainly see it in Chile. I don't know, it is a bit dodgy, but the fact that this mountain range is kind of running east to west rather than north to south, because, like, I feel like, you know, in Chile, most of the mountain ranges are running north to south. We could be, like, here, but it really works well for Cochabamba, which has, like, this mountain range running north of the city, so I'll try that. Let's see if we're right. Okay, it was that kind of same mountain range. Very good. Glad I got that one. 7 in a row, actually. This is no joke. Next one here should, with all this kind of plant, be somewhere in Malaysia. But you also see it in Indonesia sometimes, even in Cambodia, you can see such a plant. So, yeah, I don't know what this one's called. If you know it, do comment. But I would say it is going to be Malaysia. It's just most likely. You often see this one around Terengganu or Sabah, and I think this feels more Sabah. And oh, that's so unfortunate. Because, yeah, you do also get it along this border a bit. I've definitely seen it there before. So that's, I mean, look, you could almost give us that round because that road is literally a few kilometers down and it turns into Malaysia. But that is the way these subdivisions work. Imagine we go on to go well here. That would be so unfortunate. But we cannot dwell on the past. This one should be Kenya, I think, actually. It doesn't really feel that Kenyan, though, so I'm trying to work out if I'm missing something here. Maybe it's Nigeria or something like that. Actually not sure. Am I missing something here? We've got walls around all the houses. That really feels good for Africa. And some of these houses are really nice. So if it is like one of these countries, then it should be capital city. I'm just going to go for Nairobi, but I could still see Nigeria. It's not out of the question here. was actually in Nakuru there. Interesting. That was really nice houses. And yeah, we pull a really nice score despite one bad guess. That's unfortunate. Okay, so we're back onto one. This one is a bit of a streak ender. I would say that Cambodia is most likely. And indeed, that poll does look pretty Cambodian. So I'll just go for it here, but we'll see. Was Cambodia? Oh, we would have been in a nice streak. This is Australia, very easy. That's a very interesting poor stitching here. I wonder if that's like a meta. I feel like I may have heard something. Now, what would it be like? Around these towns here, maybe, or something like that? I can't really remember where this would be. Okay, it was in that area. Interesting. Maybe I just knew the landscape, or maybe that is actually a meta that I somehow have subconsciously remembered. This one immediately was beckoning me to guess in the US, but the longer I look at it, the more I think Europe, just this vegetation. So France is obviously fitting pretty nicely here. Northern Spain is actually quite a good possibility. It's pretty flat, but it does kind of look like Galicia area here. Then also, I mean, yeah, especially with these kind of like it almost looks like eucalyptus, but it's not actually. So I do think France is better. Maybe even Ireland or UK are actually pretty good shouts here. I definitely don't mind those. In fact, maybe even Ireland. I don't know, but I feel like some of these trees are maybe a bit warm climate for Ireland. I guess it could also be like Czechia or something in Eastern Europe as well. It's not out of the question, but the fence feels more like, yeah, maybe even British. I don't know. Like, I actually am kind of leaning more north here. The longer I look at the infrastructure here, this fence, the kind of hedgerowish nature of it, I'm going to go for the UK here. And, okay, it was Czechia, yeah. That was basically as far east as it could have been, because it definitely had kind of a Western European vibe. Obviously, Sudetenland's, like, kind of quite a bit of Germanic heritage. Like, it doesn't surprise me that that's, like, there, but if it was the other side of Czechia, I would have been quite surprised, if you know what I mean. Okay, next one here. This should just be Portugal with those poles. Next one here is difficult. So then, I would say that Canada's actually a decent shout here, but I could also just as easily see, like, I don't know, I do think it's actually US or Canada, and I think of the two, Canada's slightly better, but I still don't exactly know where would be best for that. Like, maybe Ontario somewhere, Sudbury, I don't know if that's actually a good shout. If it was Europe, I'm not quite sure where I'd put it, so I'll just go for Canada here. And, okay, well, it's just over in Wisconsin, that's okay. So again, a nice seed, but just unfortunately let down by 1 or 2 rounds there. So really playing well here. Definitely a world record could come into fruition here if we play nicely. This, I'll just go for Philippines. It was my first thought. Actually, just Mexico, but yeah, we're on 0 streak, so I just go. Especially on a hard round. This one, I thought was I think it's actually going to be somewhere in Greece, like tall wooden pole like that. It's very flat though, so we're on some kind of island here maybe. Try that one maybe. Okay, it was just near Athens instead. Very flat for Athens. This one, we've got an interesting house. Should be Indonesian, I think. She could be Indonesian too, so yeah, I don't mind that. Could also be like Sri Lanka, but no, I do like Indonesia better. And I'll go in West Nusa, and it was in Indonesia. There we go. It's Bintan Island. That's all we need. That's all we need. Okay, next one here. Should be Slovakia. We got like a metal roof here. I think that's common in East Slovakia. And actually, I wasn't sure at all until I looked at this house sign, which looks like a kind of one of the white Slovakian ones. So I definitely like it a lot now. And I will go right here. See if that's right. Ooh, got the right valley, basically. That's really nice. Kind of felt good about that guess when I made it. It's hard to describe, but yeah, I definitely liked it, and it was right indeed. Okay, next one here. Now, is this the US or is it Mexico? Because you often get these kind of forests in Mexico, and the fence kind of feels Mexican as well. Now, on the same token, it could also be Colombian, because this also does kind of feel like a Colombian fence too. But I'll say Mexico, because I think it's more likely out of the two. And it was indeed near Mexico City. Yeah, lots of pine trees and that kind of high altitude, kind of temperate climate in the center of the country there. And we're on 4 streaks, so actually nothing to complain about just yet. This is good. Let's see what happens on this next seed, yeah. Obviously, all depends on what kind of countries we get, as well as how well we can play. This one is fairly easy. We got these like Nigerian-style like waffle poles, the ones that you see in Brazil as well. And yeah, just kind of very typical Nigerian architecture and a huge ditch as well. So yeah, this should be somewhere in Nigeria. I guess it's quite dry, so we'll go in the outskirts of Abuja here. And it was just in Ibadan, which also looks very dry a lot of the time, despite being in the green zone. This is interesting. Huge cactus. Like South American style fence as well. So I guess the thoughts here are like Argentina or Mexico. The sun appears to be more southern, so I think we just send Mexico here. But I guess North Colombia, I think we go Mex here. And wow, was a nice guess there even, so that's great. Next one here. Ooh, impossible round. Thought of Denmark. Might just go for it, to be honest. Like, I don't really know. Like, it could be anything here. Let's try it. It was Denmark. Let's go, dude. That's crazy. If we went off that, like, just trusting my instinct was, like, really good there. So I'm very happy with that. This is Finland, I think. It just kind of looks like Finland to me. These red brick buildings and everything like that. Blue strips on the plates. That fits nicely. Could this be Sweden? Yeah, could be. That looks like a bus stop. Now, that could easily be a Swedish bus stop. Some of them do have yellow on it. So, yeah, I'm just trying to consider. This building here really reminded me more of Finland. And you know what? I've almost never done this. Like, only rarely on maps like this happens. We actually have a useful reflection here in this window, though. So we do see some kind of a blue sign with a red shield on it. So let's see if Finland has red shields here. They do. So yeah, it's Finland. Let's go. Nice. That is a very, very nice round. I think it's not often that you get to use some, like, a little bit of high IQ detective skills, but that one was definitely one of those rounds, so I like it. Okay, next one here. Kyrgyzstan, surely. This kind of landscape, dry mountains. I would expect normally when you get this kind of landscape in Kyrgyzstan that you'd be somewhere near Narin or something like that, maybe on one of these like south roads or something like that. Though I'm just trying to think if anything else is actually reasonable here. It could be like that road maybe, but is anything else actually reasonable here? I would say that there are other options, but I'll go for Kyrgyzstan. I think it's really the most likely. Ends up being this one here, definitely a gettable road. And that was a 22,000 as well as a 9-country streak here. So we're halfway to the world record here, and I really think we can do it. Let's just see what we get here. Hopefully no bushes. Okay, it's no bushes. That's excellent. This is just going to be somewhere in central Sulawesi, because we have these bollards with the kind of like, I don't know, it's like an old Dutch flag, or no, not really. What is it? I don't know what that is, but that color scheme is always found in central Sula here. So, given that case, we have a big mountain to the south here, and we're in a biggish town, so maybe this area here, although it is kind of directly south, so I'm not entirely sure. Like, there aren't that many towns around the place here, but especially with mountains south like that. I'll just go here. It feels good. And yeah, it was that town. Makes sense. Like, it had big town vibes, and honestly, central Sulawesi is fairly unpopulated, so not really a surprise. Let's see if we can go for a really good score on this seed, just because that start was so nice. Next one here does feel rather Australian. We have like a gum tree in the background here, so I'm pretty sure it is. Nevertheless, like, a lot of this other vegetation doesn't feel Australian, but the sun is to the north, so yeah, and the house looks Australian too. So different wine regions here. It's not South Australia. It doesn't feel like South Australia to me. I know, like, when I was little, I used to live in Bendigo, and we'd drive through Heathcote a lot. Now, Heathcote often had some wine, like you can see vineyards here, so I'm gonna try Heathcote here. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was right. But ultimately, there's still like a bunch of places this can be, so I'll just give it a go. And okay, it was just in this wine region over here. I do know there's quite a few wineries around there, or is it not? I mean, it's just a little farm, actually. But yeah, there are some wineries nearby, somewhere in Wellington Peninsula area. So that makes sense. It's still a nice score so far. Next one here is Italian plates. Okay. Let's see if we can think about this, cook up a nice score here. So I would say this was north, but not too north, because those mountains are not huge. So maybe Tuscany area, maybe like, yeah, like something around here I would say is pretty decent. And we were kind of looking east at those hills. So, I mean, anywhere here really works. I'll go for that. And okay, it was very close to San Marino. You know, I actually did get a bit of a San Marino vibe there. Yeah, it makes sense. It's Generation 4, so it can't be there anyway. Next one here is very gettable as well. This should be somewhere in Romania, I think, with this poll. But let me consider. It is like very desolate here, which is interesting. I'm just trying to see, could this be Hungary? I think the roof is a bit Hungarian here, but the rest of the vibe of the round is more Romanian to me. I couldn't really describe exactly why, but obviously it is pretty hilly for Hungary. Hungary's relatively flat, so obviously it was kind of lucky that we're pointed towards those. If it is, of course, Romania, but I think the poll is Romanian enough to be confident to send here. So I'm just going to click middle here, and it was indeed 20 kilometers away. Very nice, near brush up there. Ooh, we've actually pulled some nice guesses again, so we can get 24,000 points here. And now we just need to guess nicely on what I think is probably, actually Nigeria. Now, let's actually try and think critically about this, because my very first thought was Mexico, and I still think Mexico is a decent shout. Actually, that might be a Mexican poll. Ooh, this is a interesting 50-50, because they're really the only two countries that I think are good shouts here. And we have like a bit of like a South American style of, oh, could this be Brazil too? Maybe. But the outer dashes, that really feels more Mexican to me. So I think it's actually Mexico, but yeah, this like South American style fence, which, as you know, like fence matters are very important for this map, feels simply better for Mexico, but the whole landscape is a bit sus. So still considering Nigeria, still considering Brazil. It's a lot of palms. They're very thin and tall. The sun is more so south, so obviously that would make Brazil less likely. I think we go Mexico here, guys. It's not pleasant, but ultimately I think it might be a Mexican pole, and the landscape fits enough, especially with the road lines, to make me feel like it's a good guess. So I'll go for it here, and it was Mexico. Let's go. Even a nice region guess there to cap it off. 23,500. Okay, guys, we're on it here. 14 in a row, by the way. We are, I think my best is 16, so this is a high point of the series. And we have to guess nicely here. Ooh. So, 2 options. Well, yeah, okay, so 3 options here. North Macedonia, Serbia, and Croatia. We have a lack of a blue strip here. Ooh, even Slovenia is possible. Like, Slovenian plates definitely do exist. They just exist, guys. Think about that. No, they do exist without a blue strip, so, I think we should scour this, absolutely every detail, see if we can see anything here. The whole vibe, I think, without any further clues, I would go Serbia here. And it almost looks like there is like a little red, like, emblem on the plate. Now, do they have that in Croatia? I think Croatian plates do have a little red emblem, but I can't remember. Regardless, definitely the North Macedonian ones do, but I think the architecture reminds me less of there. Although this roof kind of looks Bulgarian, and that is like a very similar country architecturally to North Macedonia. Ultimately, I definitely get more of a Croatia vibe here. This kind of like autumn coverage mixed with like very Balkan houses. This orange painted house looks very like Serbo-Croatian, definitely. And I feel like that combined with the lack of a blue strip means you pretty much go Croatia here. It's a bit scary because I think I do see it like maybe a pretty significant red emblem there, which may be the North Mass one, but it is flat. I think we go Croatia here safely, and it was indeed Croatia. Let's go, guys. Okay, 15. Pray for a nice round, or 5 or 6. Yeah, we can get the world record here easily. Ooh, it's gettable. It's gettable. Ooh, what are these mountains? What are these mountains, guys? Ooh, we have to cook up here. So, it's Latin American for sure. And why don't I recognize them then? Like, this shouldn't be too hard. This should not be too hard. Let me think. I'm actually concerned, like, why don't I recognize these super distinctive mountains? I don't think it's Brazil. I think the soil and everything just doesn't quite work. I don't think it's Ecuador. I think, like, if it was Ecuador, I definitely would have seen it before. I don't think it is Chile. Like, ooh, but it could be Chile, but I don't think the architecture really fits for Chile. They don't really have those red brick buildings so commonly. I don't think it's Argentina, though that's the first country I could kind of see it being. Like, Peru is pretty possible. I think Bolivia has to be impossible just because I swear I would have seen this if it was Bolivia before. But, oh my gosh, I'll be so mad if this is Bolivia. I don't think it's there because I think I would have seen it. It would be famous if it was Bolivia. Surely. But maybe it was like near La Paz or something. Then Mexico is not impossible, though. I think it's not Mexico. I don't know, this pine tree looks a bit Mexican. I think overall, Peru is the best. So I'm just trying to work out like this pole in the distance. Certainly could be Peruvian. The architecture is really what makes me think it's Peru most likely. Oh man, if we were any closer to another building or something, it would be so easy because we look for like a electricity counter or something like that. But as it stands, this is quite unpleasant. Ooh, it's quite unpleasant. Honestly, like I'm kind of turning back and forth with the Argentina thought in my head. Again, I feel like I would recognize it if it was Argentina. I feel like I'm just trying to think of like, what's the most random stuff so that I wouldn't have ever seen something before. And I feel like Peru certainly fits the bill where it just has so many mountains that it's definitely possible I just like somehow missed this. But it is stunning. Like it really is like such a landscape here. And I'm very, very curious to find out where it is. It could also be, like, I did think of, like, something around Bucaramanga, where you get some really interesting mountains, or even, like, you know, because you have those famous jutting out mountains in, like, northern Colombia, so I don't think it's impossible, but I think it's just a bit dry in the soil for that. I'm gonna go Peru here. I think it's, like, at least, like, 50% probable, but I'm pretty scared, because, obviously, losing 15 just sucks no matter what. And I think it could be maybe Bolivia or something like that. But I'm going to go for Peru here. Oh my gosh, and it was La Paz. I had the call. Oh no, that's so annoying. I can't believe it. It's exactly that, where Bolivia has such sparse coverage that all the roads I know. But as soon as you enter a capital city that actually has full coverage, it is possible to get these rounds I didn't know. And I think that's a pretty obvious round for like geography fans or like people who know La Paz. But I just kind of forgot it. And that's really annoying because I did know that in hindsight, you know. So let's just see what we would have ended off with here. That was, okay, that was always going to be gettable, I think. Or was it? This maybe Colombia? Okay. Brazil, I mean, gettable as well. This is South Africa, so yeah, I mean, like the rest of the seed was gettable. Now, what was this actually? Was it UK? Okay, maybe that was more difficult. That actually would have been more difficult. I may have gone Pharaohs there, to be honest. Yeah, so that is it for the video. Obviously, 15 is a super effort, and it just proves that the world record is definitely inside. So guys, thank you very much for watching the video all the way to the end. Give it a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in a video very soon. Goodbye.